Oh boy, I need a new Fallout game like I need a bullet to the brain. Hey guys, it's your boy Ty here, and today we're trading in our irradiated green Washington DC for the sunset orange deserts of the Mojave. This time around, you play as the courier.
You've got mail.
And you work for Amazon Delivery. And guess what? You get your own piss bottle. You have a prime delivery order to fulfill, and the only downside to it is that you have to do it in America. Meet the friendly locals, the not so friendly locals.
Each did nothing, even when loved ones were dragged away to be killed.
Seek out that sweet tasting revenge, or just settle for sleeping with some Fallout groupies.
You're kicking me into gear, huh? Well, I think I'll drive my chassis over to your pad. Don't forget the oil.
You want to make my cock explode now?
Make sure you stock up, because the desert is a dangerous place, but rest assured, it won't bend you over backwards anywhere near the amount the game engine will. Why not play your hand at Gwent if Gwent was impossible to understand and just didn't work? Or maybe just send a bunch of zombies to Elon Musk's Mars colony. So take a sip of your trusty canteen and put on those cowboy boots, making sure those spurs jingle, jangle, jingle. And indoctrinate yourself into a cult following that praises this game to no end and will likely foam at the mouth for just putting this picture on screen. I probably should have done this bit before I pissed off the entire fan base, but if at any point during this video you thought, you know what, this guy is actually alright, please support the channel and video by hitting the subscribe button and liking the video. It does go a long way. It doesn't seem like it does sometimes, but trust me, it really helps out big YouTube in deciding if they want to promote the video or not. If you've already done it, thank you so much. If you're going to do it, thank you so much. And if you're not going to do it, you're dead to me. But thank you so much. Anyway, let's dive into Fallout New Vegas without any mods, because I hate myself apparently. Fallout New Vegas. I'm going to be honest here, guys. I don't have as much attachment to this title as I did with Fallout 3. So after that game had some insane sale numbers and gamers all around collectively just agreeing it was a good game, Bethesda pretty much had a guaranteed successful sequel on the horizon. So what did they do? Well, instead of developing said sequel, they decided to put all their efforts into making a new title called Skyrim. Ah no, sounds like a bust to me. So what they did do was approach the guys they bought the IP from before, but only some of them. You see, a few people left Black Isle Studios and formed their own studio called Obsidian Entertainment. Bethesda approached these guys and said, hey, do you want to make a Fallout spin-off? And yes, I know it sucks to hear, guys, but Fallout New Vegas is in fact a spin-off. Deal with it, please. But anyway, of course, the team was super excited about this opportunity, and though they were using the same engine, the team was only given 18 months to make the game. Now that's quite impressive, as with that short time, they made what many consider a better Fallout game. It seems that Bethesda tend to make great games when they let other people actually do the work for it, be it an old developer or the modern community. Now, we looked at Fallout 3 a couple of weeks ago, thanks to the Fallout TV show being widely celebrated throughout the fanbase, and the series having a few more eyes on it than it has had in the last few years. Regardless, I think it's time to dive into the Mojave and see if this game was as good as what people make it out to be. This is a widely celebrated title, and I don't have the love for this game that a lot of people have, so I might be missing something. I played this game back when I was a little Ty on the Xbox 360, and though I didn't enjoy the setting and faction relationships that much compared to how straightforward the main plot was in Fallout 3, I still thought it was an okay game. Okay game. Okay game.
Get your torches! Pitchforks! Can't be an angry mob without pitchforks!
Though I never ventured back to the title for a replay. I've only played this game once, and I only made it through one of the 4 DLCs that dropped after launch. So there's a lot more for me to see here. Now, a lot of people have told me how to play this game, so I'm going to dive back in on the hardest difficulty with the survival aspects turned on to get the full experience and see if New Vegas is indeed a better Fallout title than Fallout 3. So let's not dilly-dally and see if Fallout New Vegas was really that good. This time around, you don't start at your own birth. That's for babies. This time we start at your own death. Like men. We play as the true hero of the American people, a postal worker. Well, courier to be exact. We are tasked with delivering this platinum chip. On our journey, we make our way to Good Springs and we bump into Chandler Bing. Hey man, you were pretty good in Friends, but I have to say, I'm more of a The Office type of guy. That guy in the checkered suit was Benny and his very tweaked out goons, Jesus. He headshots us and steals the platinum chip. Wow, that was quick. Why does this game have a cult following again? It's already finished. Fortunately, the bullet only hit the part of my brain that gives me a good taste in video games. So we survive and now I kind of want to play Starfield. We wake up in a doctor's surgery and after making our character, we do some ink blot tests. And I learn a lot about myself, to be honest.
What do you say you have a look at this? Tell me what you see. Okay. How about this one? Last one.
Here we get a new gameplay mechanic called traits. These have negative and positive effects, like shooting faster with guns and energy weapons, but never actually really hitting a target like it's an Ali G skit. The only one I ever really take is the wild wasteland trait. It just adds some strange and funky events throughout your playthrough. It doesn't really impact much gameplay wise. We rob the doctor blind and just before we set out for the Mojave, I decide to toggle on the hardest difficulty and hardcore mode. This mode makes it so you need to eat, sleep and drink regularly for more of a survival gameplay. Also stem packs restore health over time rather than instant. I have never played on this mode before in the game, but you guys really did push saying that this is the best way to play in the Fallout 3 video. So I just want to say thank you were right, and also, fuck you. This mode is the best way to play New Vegas, don't get me wrong, but man, I really feel the limb damage. If you get crippled, the only way you can fix it is with doctor bags or going to a doctor to repair yourself. The doctor bags themselves are pretty rare to find and very expensive to buy off NPCs. So get used to running around like you've been sitting on the toilet for too long. Finally, we venture out into Good Springs and oh my god, this DLC stuff drives me insane. We get to meet some of the locals and we get our tutorial quest where we learn how to survive the Mojave. It's here only 10 minutes into the game where one little gameplay mechanic makes New Vegas a million times better than Fallout 3. I'm sorry. The ability to look down sights, holy, this is a game changer. I didn't know how important this was in Fallout until, well, we got it. And I can see why this is one of the most popular mods for Fallout 3. We meet the townsfolk and we help a runaway Ringo who is being hunted by a faction calling themselves the Powder Gangers. Now either these guys love explosives or they do a lot of coke. After helping him out and fending off the gang, we become good friends with Good Springs and hated by the Powder Gangers. Okay, so this time around it's not just karma we're balancing here, we're having to maintain social links with these factions throughout the playthrough like it's a Persona game or something. We have the Legion, who are a bunch of self-righteous slavers who hate the NCR almost as much as they hate women. We have the NCR, who are a bunch of self-righteous militia trying to control the entire Mojave from itself. We have Mr. House, a self-righteous wealthy man who just wants New Vegas for himself, really. We have the Bruvs of Steel, who you may remember as a bunch of self-righteous soldiers looking to take new tech and old tech from the wasteland for themselves. We have the Great Khans, who are some self-righteous old tribal members slash biker gang, or the Boomers, who are a bunch of self-righteous vault dwellers who like talking about blowing stuff up as much as they like talking about how they could buy a house and raise a family on one income. Or lastly, we have the Followers of the Apocalypse. Now they sound like they could be the bad guys, but they actually just kind of want to help people. Huh. So that's a lot of factions, but we're not done yet. Those are just the major players on the board in the story. There are so many different settlements and groups of people that for someone like me who can barely maintain a small group of friends, it's just too much to juggle. Alright, so with that done, we have two options. We can make a straight shot from Good Springs to New Vegas by going through the north. That sign can't stop me because I can't read. So going straight north is a major difficulty spike to try and deter you from doing it. But I'm gonna be honest, it isn't the giant fuck you moth that you should be worried about. It's the team killing robot. Well, with that being a bust, you can go south, which will add about, I don't know, 30 hours of game time before you hit New Vegas. This is the game. How you play through and how the main plot beats unfold is entirely down to how much you explore and get sidetracked. If Fallout 3 was a man distracting you with something shiny, Fallout New Vegas is an entire football stadium doing the same thing. I have never played a game so depending on how much me, the player, is willing to explore. And I absolutely love it. It makes no two playthroughs the same. It's amazing. And considering, again, the time frame on development for this game, they packed in a lot of stuff. Uncle Ty is impressed, Obsidian. Now, like Fallout 3, I didn't have a plan going into this playthrough. I have no idea which factions I was going to go and befriend or eliminate. I just kind of wanted to let the game unfold, and jumping ahead a little bit, I accidentally saved an NCR soldier that I thought was dead in one of the Legion camps, which started a massive shootout. This pretty much locked me into a rough relationship with them, and so I decided to play as an NCR bitch. We head off to Prim, a town under siege by escaped conflicts and TV license enforcers. Here we help the town find a new sheriff, and we commute back to our office, the Mojave Express, where we find out we were actually the second choice to take this chip to New Vegas. The last guy just kind of respected his grey matter a bit more than us. I'm sure he won't pop up again later on. We put a convicted criminal in charge of the town like it's a British government or something, and we make our way to Novak, but not before stumbling on a town taken over by the Legion, who, let's just say, they're a little cross with the residents. After sharing my drug collection with a cripple...
Fucking kidding me? First I get my leg smashed, and then in walks the Powder Ganger's Grim fucking Reaper. What the fuck have you got against us, man? Jesus fucking Christ! If you want me dead, just give me 15 medics and I'll fucking OD for you, okay? Fuck!
Sorry man, this is hardcore, I don't have the doctor bags to spare. I continue to get insanely sidetracked and find myself at Camp Searchlight, an entirely irradiated town that used to be run by the NCR until the Legion dropped chemical warfare, turning this place into, well, Fallout 3. Now, I went to this area probably a bit too soon. I had no real way to deal with the rads here, so I was kind of playing a game of chicken with the Geiger counter, which made it way more interesting because this meant I had to rush around looting the area while constantly being attacked by these pretty strong ghoul NCR troops. Thanks to the wasteland trait we took at the beginning of the game, we were able to get a pretty OP weapon here, holy hand grenades. Now you'll think these are just a joke item, but my god, these things pack a punch. Like, they have the wrath of God inside these little canisters. If you're pulling the pin, make sure you're aiming somewhere far away. As I continue to search Camp Searchlight, I end up inside a fire station where there's a giant rad scorpion. Again, this is a really tough fight. I should not be here. With that defeated, I need to go. We head over to the giant reptile town, where we get asked to politely go and evict a bunch of ghouls from a space shuttle station. We head over there, and luckily enough, they are a cult, because everyone's in a cult in this game. You see, these ghouls just want to go up to space. So we help them out, and there's also a bunch of Nightkin, a bunch of super mutants hooked on stealth boys. Below, we help them out. The leader is a talking cow skull named Antler.
What's that, Antler? We have a visitor. An assassin, more like. I say kill it, Antler, for safe's sake. Okay, Antler, I'll ask. Hi, human. Why you come here?
I fucking love this game, man. Now, I forgot about this area, and I'm just glad I wore my brown pants, because Jesus. The Nightkin are terrifying. They just lurk around, invisible with their stealth boys, and just attack randomly. For a first-time player, this is quite the bamboozle.
Got you now.
We head back to Novak with the good news, and we help this guy called Boone take revenge on his wife. Not on his wife. Take revenge on his wife's enslaver, and we recruit him as our first companion. Yes, Boone, the spacesuit is a requirement. On our journey, we help the NCR take over a power plant, and we destroy a Legion camp, seemingly by accident, to be honest. And we meet Veronica, an ex-Brotherhood of Steel member.
I'm Veronica. I live in a hole in the ground.
Coincidentally, I came from a hole in the ground. I immediately ditch Boone as he's just far too depressing with the whole wife thing, and we get a new companion. Yes, Veronica, the spacesuit is a requirement. Moving forward, we finally get to New Vegas, well, the front door, as there is so much to do before we can even head in. Which is fine, I've only been playing for what, 40 hours so far, and I haven't advanced the main plot once, since Benny's skull fucked me with a 9mm round. Around the outskirts of New Vegas, we find the Sunset Sarsaparilla factory, where we are tasked with retrieving these Blue Star bottle caps. Now, no one seems to have done this side quest. And I'm gonna be honest, this kind of proves that most regular people are more put together than me because thanks to my crippling addiction to hoarding, I already have them all. And the reward for this long ass quest is a miscellaneous item, a sheriff's badge. Worth. I take out some aggression. Still exploring the outskirts, we come across a pretty high-tech building I decide to explore. And it's so high-tech, in fact, that they have a 2-in-1 safe. I think this is a glitch.
We care about the most.
Just as we leave, Caesar decides to send me his worst assassin to try and take me out. Like, what was this guy planning?
The Kaiser has marked you.
We head over to what seems like a soldier camp, and we help some NCR kill a bunch of cannibals like it's a regular Tuesday in the wasteland. You have to kill the 3 leaders of these fiend groups. And the NCR leader wants their head as proof. Now, this is the first time I have regretted taking the bloody mess perk, because it makes it almost impossible to get these things in pristine condition. But with that quest done, after a lot of save scumming, we now have to help this scientist guy check out a couple of vaults. And the two I want to talk about is this vault here, where the experiment for this vault was trying to get grass and trees and just kind of nature in general thriving again. Unfortunately, what they did make was killer plants and Charlie's Green Man from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, this vault was really interesting. You see, this vault, the experiment here was that they needed to sacrifice a vault dweller every year to sort of maintain life in the vault. And they did this by sending them into like this really weird room where they watch a videotape telling them that, you know, dying's okay. Very cult-like.
Greetings, martyr, and welcome. If you're here now, it means you've been offered up as a sacrifice so that your vault can continue to thrive. Currently, you may be feeling sad or angry. Perhaps you never got to have grandkids or to enjoy the pleasures of a fresh cigar.
Very much just drink the Kool-Aid, man. It's cool. Which then opens up and you get completely bombarded by sentry bots and Mr. Gusties. This is a tough fight on the hardest difficulty. But super interesting. Other than that, the vaults don't really do much. You don't really need to check these for the main storyline. They're optional content, which I'm okay with. I just wish there was more of them. There's a couple more I'm not really have time to talk about because they're quite basic, but we'll just move on. Now, doing this has allowed me access to the strip through the monorail, which seems to have skipped Freeside completely. This was super interesting because I've never done this before. Usually you have to go through Freeside and build the funds to pay the guy at the gate to get through. There's a lot of side quests I just skipped. There's hours of content. Now, this would be a W, but unfortunately this means I missed the best faction in the game. A bunch of Elvis wannabes who are strong-arming in the slums.
What do we have here? Another petitioner for the king? Anything's possible, I suppose. How much is it worth to you to meet the big man?
I assume this is a normal day in Vegas for an American, like how I can't walk around Suffolk without bumping into a bunch of gingers pretending to be Ed Sheeran. Anyway, the king is probably the most sane faction leader we've met so far. He just wants peace and to hang out with his cool robot dog Rex, who I feel a connection with as we're both struggling with the bad brain. It's here I proceed to steal the dog and implant a Legion's dog's brain into Rex. Like with all Fallout games, the best companion is the dog. Now for his questline, there are several brains you can put into him that do different aspects, like give him more strength, more speed, or more survivability. I went for the Legion brain because I'm playing on the hardest difficulty and I need him to be able to tank a few hits. And it actually turns out that the Legion brain is the best brain for him to have because he used to be a Legion dog. This gives him the good ending, which makes sense to me. Like if I needed a new brain, I hope they would find a chubby content creator that has a crippling addiction to Overwatch 2 and Bayonetta cosplay. We finished this quest by going very far north up to Jacobstown, a safe haven for super mutants and Nightkin. Now I feel like I missed quite a bit in this area, but I did get one quest where a bunch of thugs wanted to come and take over the camp, I guess, and I just told them to leave. And they did.
Our business is with the muties, not you. I've always known when to fight and when to back down, and it seems to me I ought to back down this time. My men and I are leaving. You won't see us around here again.
Like, I know my charisma's high, but dude didn't even put up a fight. Now, before I head over to the strip, where the king's probably going to be pretty mad at me, I decided to go check out this group of vault dwellers who are now calling themselves boomers. These guys love a big climax, let me tell you. Their quest involves us trying to resurrect this old warplane. I decided to help them out because, yeah, why not? I'm a nice guy. And they give you a rebreather, which is a pretty good damage reduction item that replaces kind of like sunglasses and glasses and just, you know, stuff that doesn't really actually do anything for your character. Just so you know, I wear this for the rest of the game. This is a great item, and not only does it give you a bit of damage reduction, you can breathe underwater. But dear lord, when you head over to go resurrect this plane, you have to cut through Quarry Junction, and fuck me. If you think seeing one random Deathclaw in DC was scary, how about a pack of them? I died the most in this area, and I can see why players are tricking beginners to come to this area earlier, because fuck. I salute it, man. It reminds me of RuneScape when people used to trick beginners into the wildy and then just gank them for their gear. Luckily, before the king can hunt me down like Keanu Reeves trying to retrieve his dog, the NCR enforcers.
This is exactly the right time. I'm about to prevent you from making a huge mistake.
Pace, don't do this. I won't stand with you if you do.
Then I'll stand on my own, just like I always have. Just like a king should. Whoa.
Alright, I've done what I want to do in Freeside. I'm heading to the Strip. Now, the New Vegas Strip, the place everyone talks about, the place that everyone wants to get in and live, the place that has been bigged up my entire quest so far. It's alright. I mean, it seems safe enough, but there's not really much here. If you're into drugs, booty, and drink, with a side order of gambling, sure, why not? It's just like Las Vegas. And the NCR seem to really like it. But I don't know, it just seems kind of run down and boring. I was expecting more. We learned that Benny, the guy we've been hunting all game and haven't actually accomplished anything so far, is chilling at the Tops Casino. We enter the casino and we instantly get patted down by a Weatherspoon's bouncer and lose all our weapons. Now this would make the whole revenge thing a little bit more difficult, but luckily they didn't check my prison wallet for the C4 explosive I hid there earlier. And here we are, face to face, Chandler Bing, the man that started it all.
What in the goddamn? Let's keep this in the groove, hey? Smooth moves like smooth little babies. I hit what I was aiming for. Guess you had brains to spare. Or you just thick-skulled.
And I have to wonder, I've learned a lot on this journey. I've made many friends, made many enemies. I have stolen so much loot. I've taken so many sips of my trusty canteen. We have helped many factions across the Mojave. Do I want to go full dark side anymore? Haven't I grown since waking up in that grave in Good Springs? Yes, I have. The circle of violence ends today. To make New Vegas, we must allow our petty differences to go to the sidelines. Starting today, we make love, not terror. Today, war does change. Hey Benny, let me teach you this neat trick with your rectum. Oh no. Wait, don't I have a delivery to do or something? I may be a dog-stealing man with homicidal tendencies, but above all else, I'm a goddamn courier. And though the package was late, we deliver it to Mr. House, who wants to use it to strong-arm his power over the Mojave with a bunch of souped-up militarian robots. Look, I'm not racist or anything, but my first death was by one of these robots, so I'm a pass on this. Though we delivered the chip, we proceed to kill him because you and I both know he's gonna leave a poor review on the Amazon delivery anyway, right?
Why have you done this? Centuries of preparation.
Anyway, after demolishing House, these two random guys come up to me and just say, hey, we know that you're pretty cool with NCR, or hey, you're pretty bad with the Legion, but we're gonna give you a clean slate so you can decide which ending of the game you wanna do. I'm gonna be honest, I hate this mechanic. I like the idea that these relationships with the factions have been forming throughout my playthrough and through my decisions. Getting a get out of jail free card right here at the end, just before I make a decision, is really dumb. I have spent the entire game mercilessly killing the Legion at every chance I get. And Caesar's just gonna be like, it's cool, man. I wanna talk to this guy. He seems pretty chill. I feel like the game should commit to whichever playthrough you're doing. I decided that because I have made my bed, I'm gonna sleep in it, so I'm Team NCR and I hate the Legion. Moving forward, we bump into Yes Man, who tells us to look into making an independent Vegas like Benny wanted. And I'm gonna be honest, after meeting some of the residents, and them consisting of a group of cannibals called the White Glove Society, or the Emerters, who just sell sex. That's not to mention Freeside. Yeah, I don't think I want to give these guys the wheel to the bus. But unfortunately, that seems to be the outcome now that House has been taken out of the picture, so I run off to NCR to get this shit sorted out. Not before enlisting and having to help protect the president from getting Lincolned. This doesn't really accomplish much because straight after, the Legion decides to attack Hoover Dam anyway, because the NCR and Legion believe that whichever faction holds the dam holds New Vegas, I guess? We tip the scales in NCR's favor and take out the Legion leader on the assault as a pseudo-final boss. This allows the NCR to take control of the Mojave, and that's it. That's the end. Unlike Fallout 3 that just never really had a finish line, this is the end of the courier's journey. And though I killed a lot of people, stole a lot of shit, banged a lot of Sarah, at the end of the day, I did what I set out to do. I delivered the chip. And thus, the end of the playthrough. But, wow. That was quite an experience. I really enjoyed myself on this playthrough. But what's that I can hear? What? Is that jingle? Oh no. Oh no. Fallout New Vegas had 4 pieces of DLC released after the launch of the base game, and unlike Fallout 3, these didn't feel like afterthoughts. Some of these I actually enjoyed more than the main plot. Now before I made this video, I asked you guys to let me know which one of these were your favorite. And I'm so thankful you took the time to respond, and I'd like to say, you're all fucking wrong. The first up is Dead Money, and this is my personal favorite. Dead Money has 4 of my favorite things for an expansion. It has loot. It has a Resident Evil-like horror gameplay, an interesting plot, and slavery. Here the courier is enslaved for a heist on the Sierra Madre. With all our gear ripped away, we are tasked with forming the best Ocean's 11 ragtag group of unlikely heroes to get that bag. The difficulty here feels like it really ramps up because I am well over the recommended level for this DLC, and yet every shot I take on this payday stalker feels like I might as well be throwing bullets by hand. I also really like the touch of them not being dead when you kill them. That sounded stupid. You have to double tap your enemies. Again, it's very Resident Evil. I really liked it. Having no gear, not even my meds, meant I had to be super conservative with everything. Most of my healing had to be done through like random junk food, so that barely benefited me, especially again, as I've said a few times, on the hardest difficulty. And this place loves traps. The amount of times I walked into a bear trap. Why is there so many bear traps around the Mojave? I haven't seen a single bear. While also having to dodge this poisonous gas that will kill me if I jump in it too long. And these radio sirens that if they go on for too long when I'm in the vicinity, I just blow up. A lot of what I just said sounds like negatives, but I actually really liked it. Again, I don't know why you guys said this was the worst one. All right, the first companion we meet on this Rick and Morty episode is Dog, who has a split personality disorder. Awesome. He goes between wanting to just eat people to just wanting to eat people with etiquette.
Master, when can Dog feed? If Dog was fed, like maybe voice could make Dog stay. Dog not want to be in cage. So here we are, a row of switches all lined up. How familiar.
Next up is a ghoul named Dean, who doesn't seem to understand the whole if one of us dies, we all die gimmick, as he tries to betray you constantly through this DLC. You see, we have these explosive collars around our necks, so if one of us dies or tries to leave, we all die. And he just doesn't get it.
No, the collars. I know what happened now. Sure, mine activated, but it feels different, the electronic tap dance inside.
What? Third is a mute Brotherhood of Steel woman, Christine. Have you ever thought about joining the Legion? They would love you over there. We learned the owner of the casino made this place for his wife, who proceeded to cheat on him with a singer at the casino. I feel like that's a conflict of interest, right? Let's just say he's a bit peeved and he locks everyone in the casino and they all just starve and die. We break into the vault and steal some of the cash, but not before getting some revenge on the guy who captured us to start with. You know what? Revenge tastes so much sweeter the second time around. Like I said, I love this DLC. The weapons are cool. The traps everywhere, the difficulty spike, it is my favorite. And though you don't really get any new gear, everything you kind of leave the DLC with, pretty basic, it's not going to make you OP. You do leave a rich man if you do knuckle down and steal some of those gold bars. Just make sure you don't go wild and over encumber yourself, because you are not escaping with everything. But we need to keep moving. Next stop on this DLC train is Honest Hearts. Honestly, the weakest of the bunch for me. We set out to venture to Scion National Park, where the inhabitants are de-evolved to essentially like tribal cavemen. So we meet Lee from The Walking Dead.
Howdy, friend. Heard my little broadcast, did you? Yeah, you look the type.
Then he turns around and tells us that we are too stacked and we need to get rid of all our gear before we can go on this journey to Scion. Bit of a dick move, but he doesn't last long enough for me to get upset, because he dies straight away. Bet you wish I carried all my medical gear now, dick. After introducing my gun to the people of Zion who are basically just using sticks, this seems a bit ridiculous. We meet Joshua Graham, who looks like a mummy, but I call him Daddy. He's the best part of this DLC. He is severely burnt, but that has not stopped his fiery passion for genocide. Love it.
Whitelegs seem to be the only visitors we have these days. And I wouldn't have expected anyone from the Mojave to come looking for us. And you're a courier, no less. Not the one I was expecting, but I suppose he wouldn't have come with a caravan. I don't know if you were close to the other members of your group, but you have my sympathy.
He spreads the word of God with every bullet. This DLC is pretty short. I've done it in about an hour. You just go in between a couple of the tribes and then have a massive shootout upriver. Is this what communism feels like? Once Joshua takes out the Whitelegs, we do get a few slideshows showing us what the tribes ended up doing once the courier left, but we left, so we don't really care. These guys want to come to the Mojave, they can come to the Mojave. But you and I both know they are going to get destroyed by the first Cazador they find. Alright, third DLC is Old World Blues. This DLC, aesthetically, is the best. But my god, the talking. Everyone talks. The TVs talk. My brain talks. Even the toaster talks in this DLC.
Really? Well, fuck. That really puts a damper on the toaster's mood.
Speaking of our brain, it just can't catch a break, as once we got abducted, an operation was performed on us that separated us from our brain, heart, and spinal cord. Apparently the courier is part Saiyan, as this near-death experience has only made us stronger. So a basic crappy summary from yours truly about Big Mountain. There was a bunch of scientists, they were making all kinds of wacky doo-doo shit, and kept themselves pretty much out of the way from all the nuke dropping and fighting going on between America and China. Unfortunately, because they're so shut off, they kind of went stir crazy and turned themselves into robots. All with their kind of unique personalities. They're kind of not really the scientists they once were now. Especially Dr. Mobius, he is super addicted to mentants. My god, he makes me want to go and do drugs.
I have all sorts of amazingly science-terrific thoughts and ideas when those chalky talents are zipping through my biogel.
He makes it sound so good. But that's really it. They just kind of fuck around with people they abduct from the wasteland and they want to leave. But let's be honest, we don't want them to leave because I don't want to have to deal with these conversations in the wasteland. They go on for like 30 minutes. And we head out and explore Big Mountain looking for our brain. Now this is a very techie-based DLC, and on the hardest difficulty, it almost put me in a dead playthrough as I kept running out of supplies, and you can't leave Big Mountain until you get your brain. So I had to get quite creative with how I was doing stuff here. You get some pretty OP gear though, which is nice, including a stealth suit that talks to you constantly and has some serious abandonment issues. I was so close to taking this off because of the constant sass. It was getting too much, but then the suit pranked me by pretending there was enemies here. And you know what? Okay, after that, you can stick around, suit. That was pretty good.
Starting combat. Just kidding.
I like that if you want to get a fully upgraded stealth suit, you have to go through a bunch of like these test chambers. It's very like Portal to me. I like it. Especially one where you have to like stealth into a school. And you have one of the scientists on the intercom shouting nonsense at you like non-stop. There is so much dialogue in this DLC.
Does that feel better?
Again, it gave me like a Cave Johnson vibe from Portal 2. I really liked it. And then you fight a giant dog. Like, why wasn't the whole game this weird? And it's not even just the armor. One of the first guns you get is this big machine gun that I think has a dog's brain inside it. It barks and howls. It's kind of unnerving, but I also kind of love it. Just wish it did more damage. So it turns out Dr. Mobius has our brain, so we head over to fight him. And let's just say this man loves a robo-scorpion. Dear Lord. The final boss is actually a giant robo-scorpion. Nice. God, this DLC is by far the campiest. We find our brain and apparently it sounds like Brian Griffin from Funny Haha Guy Show.
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been, Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again?
We have a bit of a debate and we reunite with the brain. We destroy some smart TVs and then we leave. And we move on to our final DLC, Lonesome Road. Now, if you thought the multiple 30-minute conversations we have with the appliances in Old World Blues was too much, oh boy, this DLC is gonna drive you insane. I assume the writers were being paid by the paragraph on this one. Here you meet Ulysses. You remember that courier that had noped out the delivery of the platinum chip? Yeah, it's this guy. From what I can glean from his non-stop exposition dumping is, I don't know, he's a former lover of the courier and is a little jealous of us, I guess. No joke, he was going to be a companion in the base game, but he got cut because there was far too much dialogue for a standard DVD disc. Like, how mental was that? So it turns out he's mad at the courier for actually doing our fucking job and delivering mail. once we were tasked with mailing something that turned out to maybe be nuclear warheads. And he's a little peeved. He wants to teach us a lesson by getting us to go around blowing up the nuclear warheads? What? This DLC is pretty hard as they have a habit of just throwing multiple death claws at you, and the enemy level is just really high. This definitely feels like what you're supposed to do at the end of your journey for this game. But I tell you what, none of it compares to the hardest boss of this DLC, the fucking game engine. I crashed, no joke, like every 10 to 15 minutes in this DLC. This game is held together with tape. Anyway, we meet Eddie, who is my favorite companion because he doesn't speak. He doesn't judge me when I nuke an entire settlement. He just plays theme music. God, I wish all the companions did this. Once we meet up with Ulysses, he says he's going to send out some nukes into the world unless we stop him. We proceed to stop him and send the nukes anyway, because if I'm one thing, it's consistent. I personally decided to nuke the Legion as, to be honest, they've kind of been the big bad for my playthrough, but you can nuke the NCR as well if you want. This makes a cool crater at their base you can go explore that has an optional boss fight. And this is actually very difficult. Even at max level, they regain health and there's quite a few enemies with pretty good weapons. So I definitely recommend checking it out. And that's the end of the DLC and the end of Fallout New Vegas. Now, obviously, I haven't touched on everything in this game. There is so much to do in the Mojave. I mean, this video is already probably the longest I've done. And I just scratched the surface, guys. Honestly, you need to check this game out. If you have never played New Vegas, it is an absolute treat. A lot of you guys seem to think that this is the best DLC, and if that's your opinion, that's cool. Maybe there's a lot in the lore that I just don't really have time or want to get involved with. Ulysses is not a character I enjoyed listening to. He talks like Dracula. Everything is long and just painful to get through with him.
Either way, the Divide Giants are awakening. The missiles here on their way home. There is no way to stop them. You've answered your own question. You don't see, listen, even when it's all around you. No matter if I nailed it into your head like a gift from Caesar.
And the fact that he pushes like how important he is to the courier in the final DLC at the end of the game, it just kind of comes across a bit desperate. I didn't like him, so I didn't bother to get attached to him. I like the difficulty spike, and we get a lot of cool items in this, like a lot of cool gear, and the enemies being a lot more difficult was nice. It's a good way to sort of tip your hat to Fallout New Vegas and just be like, yeah, I'm done. Thanks for the good times. Pulls on cigarette. But I don't know, it was just the weakest to me. And again, it could have been that whole situation where I just got a little bit burnt out with Fallout New Vegas playing these back to back. But the only character in this DLC specifically that I cared about was Eddie. And we don't even find out about his story. He's kind of left on a maybe he'll find his way. But even that being the weakest of the bunch is still a lot better than most of Fallout 3's DLC. And I'm gonna be honest, the personality and quirkiness of these DLCs is really impressive. Not one is the same as the other. Honestly, I hope one day we get a Fallout game where just the whole game is just this wackiness. Just very campy storytelling and bright colors and just weird shit, man. Oh man, what a game, guys. Oh my god. I really get it. I honestly do. I get why so many people say this is the better Fallout game out of these three. Granted, I still haven't touched these ones, but yeah, I understand. New Vegas is a completely different beast. Now, I might upset a few people. I still think Fallout 3 is the better game for me. And I'm gonna be completely honest, that most likely is due purely to some severe nostalgia. But again, like, this is not me saying New Vegas is a bad game at all. This is 2 top-tier quality titles that I love, but just one has a special place in this old man's heart more than the other. I dig how open this game is and how really the storyline boils down to you need to deliver this thing, a guy stops you and you're a little bit pissed about it. The courier just then randomly ends up in situations throughout the story where he shouldn't be, and he just decides the fate of everyone. Especially towards the end where you decide which factions benefit and don't benefit from Hoover Dam. I think it was quite a risk doing this sort of story, and I wish they doubled down and didn't give you this get out of jail free card towards the end of the game where you can just decide what you're going to do even after you've made some pretty dubious decisions. And even though the game is so buggy, man, like how does this game have the exact same engine as Fallout 3 and yet it runs like it's on a evil toaster? I loved my entire game time, even with several crashes, and I'm talking like I must have crashed 30 or 40 times. Like, that's not even me being sarcastic or making a joke. I must have crashed that much. Luckily, it's an old piece of software running on a really high-end PC, so like getting back into the game is pretty easy and auto-saving is awesome. But still, if a game released today like this, oh my god, it would not do well. And do you know how I know this? Because Starfield released last year. Like I said, I love the game, and even though the karma system is not as heavily implemented here, I'm still glad it exists. Unlike Fallout 4. It just being there in the background is a nice detail to always be aware of. Playing on hardcore mode is definitely the way to do it. Making it more of a survival game feels much more like it's a wasteland and everything's out to get you, including your own body. I am so happy that the Fallout TV show has brought so many more eyes to the series because these are great games. And as of today, I'm probably going to date this recording session now, but today is the 25th and the new update for Fallout 4 came out, making it kind of next-gen with a little bit of added content. So I'm looking forward to diving into that game too. If you haven't checked it out and I haven't steered you clear with my trash video, please buy it. The game you can buy for cents on the dollar, pence on the pound. I don't know what other countries do, like a goat, half a goat. It's so cheap, it is so worth jumping in. And if you can see past some of the glaring issues like the engine and the reused assets, it's a great time. I loved it. And I kind of want to go back in time and slap myself the first time I played through and thought this game was kind of boring, because Baby Ty, he was naive, man. This is a great title. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. Please, if you are here and you would like to see a Fallout 4 video, please let me know in the comments. Just be like, Ty, sort it out. This video took forever to come out. Hurry up and make the next one. But that's all I've got to say. Thank you so much. And yeah, stay safe, guys. I'm really enjoying the momentum on this channel at the moment. The comment section, just you guys even jumping in to do a stupid poll I did for the community. It means a lot. I've never had this many people actually enjoy something I've made. It feels great. So yeah, I'm going to head out. I am super hungry. It's like 12 o'clock. I don't know if anywhere's going to be open for me to get food, but I'm going to head out and I'll see you in the next video. Ty out, guys. Peace.